All right. Good morning, GPAR. This is Matt Bradden from the GPAR team. We're so happy to be here for our latest edition of Coffee Talk. So much. Thanks so much for joining us as I get tripped up in my words on this Thursday morning. As you know, Coffee Talk is a great opportunity for us to go ahead and connect with various influential people from around the city that impact your business, impact the work that you do every single day. And we're so grateful to go ahead and have today's conversation with a city council member. As you know, real estate issues are very important to city council, and a lot of stuff goes on there. So having these opportunities to have these conversations is super vital to our association, and having those thoughtful connections really helps us do our job really well. So with that, I would like to introduce our 2024 president, Chris Mattioli. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Matt. Thank you. And thanks, everybody, for taking the time to join, especially our guest here today, Council Member Jim Harrity. Jim, thank you again. But let's start with just a little, background. Tell us a little bit about yourself, what section of the city you call home, what did you do before city council, what led you to run, stuff like that. Let's get a little background on you, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no worries. Well, I grew up in Southwest Philadelphia. Shout out to Al Perry. I know he's one of your guys. We grew up together, went to school together. I was raised out there. My father was a police officer. My mother was a crossing guard. I got involved in politics early. I started working for a guy named Senator Sanfrani when I was around 16, doing campaign work for him, mostly hanging posters, knocking on doors. And from there, I worked my way up through the ranks. I worked for the sheriff's department, the controller's office, the mayor's office. I'm also a 20-year member of Labor's Local 57. Was lucky enough to get into the union early. Both my brothers are members of Local 57. So I moved into the Kensington section with my wife. And lived there for now about 16, 17 years. And I got a little worked up because nobody was really fighting for the seniors or the kids in that neighborhood. Things are not well there. Thank God now we're getting into fixing some of the problems. And, I bring a little bit of a unique perspective to council. I'm very open about my recovery. I'm 14 years sober now. And it's been a journey for me. 14 years ago, I would have never thought I'd be a councilman. But like I said, I worked a bunch of different jobs and then eventually ended up back with my union doing highway work. I was a foreman. Last job I was on was the I-95 connection to the turnpike up there in the Northeast in Bucks County. And Senator Street called me and said that he was going to run for Senate. Would I come help him with his campaign? And we've been best friends for 30-something years now. I worked for his father back in the day. So I took a layoff from the union. Highway workers, we usually get laid off at Christmas time anyway. I was a foreman, so they usually lay us off the week of Christmas. And we don't usually go back until the last week of February, beginning of March, because you can't do concrete or asphalt. So I took the layoff early and went to work for Senator Street, and we ended up getting everybody out of the race except him. My union called me in the end of February and said, "Hey, we want you to come back." And I said, "I don't think I'm coming back. I got everybody out of this race. I'm probably going to go help my friend." So I went over with Senator Street, spent 6 years with him, 4 of which I was his chief of staff, ran his office, and then I was always involved in the Democratic Party with Congressman Brady. I am still currently the executive director of the Philadelphia Democratic Party. And the party came to me when Alan Dom got out of the race to run for mayor and asked me if I would consider running for the special election. And I had intended on running for the full term when it came up. So usually in the Democratic Party, when you get offered the special election, that means you're not allowed to run for the general. So when he came and told me that, I would basically said, screw you, I'm running, yada, yada, yada. It got very offensive. And they said to me, no, we want to give you the leg up. We're going to run you as the incumbent. We'll give you the special election, then you can run in the for the 4-year term as the incumbent. So that was that. And as they say, the rest is history. I'm now actually, because I ran for special election, I'm actually considered in my second term. I got a year seniority on most of the newcomers. We had 4 new members come in. So it's kind of funny how things work out. I got a year on them and I'm already in seniority. But that's the way it goes. I was happy to get to be the chair of labor and civil service this time around, as well as being on many other committees, public safety, public works, just to name a few. Just anxious to do the work and glad to get this opportunity to speak to you on this beautiful morning. As I said, I'm in Wildwood starting my vacation. I just didn't want to miss this event. But you guys are actually my last official action before I take a 2-week break. I haven't been on
Before you jump in the
vacation.
ocean?
Yeah, I haven't been.
Yeah.
I've been down here. Me and my wife have been together 17 years, so we've been here 17 years. I think I've been to the beach once in 17 years. We got one of the little old fisherman cottages, so I spend most of my summers just fixing it up, planning on my retirement eventually.
I hear you. Well, one thing that, again, with everybody else on, I know we talked briefly before, but thank you again, especially taking the time during your vacation to talk with us. And congratulations on 14 years of sobriety. That's awesome. Really commendable. So I
Thank you.
admire that. And you touched on a couple of the committees. Could you just tell us again which committees you sit on and any chair positions that you hold?
Well, I'm on about 8 to 10 committees. Couple of the big ones are public safety, public works. I'm also on children with disabilities. I'm the co-chair. I'm also the co-chair of seniors and aging. I'm happy to be there and to be able to have some say on what's going on concerns that, I care about. Seniors mean a lot to me. I was raised partially by my grandparents. So I have a little bit of a soft spot for seniors. So I was glad to be able to be the co-chair of that committee. I'm chair of the Labor and Civil Service Committee, which is one of the larger committees that we have, dealing with a lot of different issues. I just did the hearing on the city employees coming back to work. And we've done a lot of different things so far this year. But just happy to be serving, to be honest with you. I thought you get up there and hit a certain age and you think your time has come and gone, and I was perfectly happy being Senator Street's number 2. But as the senator says, we plan and God plans, and he always has a better plan. And it seemed he had different ideas. So here I am.
Very good, very good. So you mentioned that the labor and civil service, and you mentioned that back to work. Any other specific updates from any of those committees you think is something you'd want to share with our group?
Well, right now we're on break. You know that we finished up. We don't actually go back to council till September. A lot of things I'm working on. Trying to figure out what we're going to start our year off with, what our year is going to be. when you do a bill, it's a long haul. You know what I mean? You have to first get some co-sponsors, and then it goes to the committee, and then from the committee it goes to the whole body. So you're talking a little while from when you write it to when it actually becomes law or passes. Uh, a lot of different things. I'm taking a look at the use and occupancy tax, trying to figure out ways where we can give people a break on that, different businesses, especially parking. Parking is a real commodity in the city, as you guys know. I'm sure.
Oh, you got muted somehow, Jim.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Somebody was trying to call in. I'm on my phone. But parking's a big commodity in the city, and with your properties that there is a real shortage. And part of the problem is that we're taxing. They pay somewhere between 9 and 13 different taxes between state, federal, and local. So just trying to figure out how we can give that industry somewhat of a break, because the problem is a lot of them are just turning around and converting their properties into buildings, which is great also. But then now we're short a whole parking lot worth of parking when we're short parking to begin with. So just trying to look at things with a common sense kind of level. And see how we can actually make the city more attractive to businesses.
That's great.
We're losing businesses in a clip, especially in our neighborhood. So just trying to come up with inventive ideas on how we can give, normal, small to medium-sized businesses a break. For far too long, they concentrated on these large businesses, and, we all remember trickle-down economics, you know what I mean? But, I believe thoroughly that if we give a break to the small and medium-sized places, that it'll give them more of a chance to succeed. And that's what it's about. You got to help them get over that first year hump. I'm working on a program now to get some more businesses in different areas of the city where we're lacking, such as Kensington. And we're trying to work out where businesses that look like the neighborhood will be able to apply for a grant where they could get up to 1 year's worth of rent paid in order to help them get into these. And it helps both entities. It helps the owners of the properties to get people into those properties. And it helps the neighborhood, because what we kind of forgot is that those small businesses, they paid for the programs in the neighborhood. They paid for the sports teams. They paid for this. They paid for the Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, all that kind of stuff was always sponsored by the small businesses in the neighborhood. The bar had the basketball team, the corner store sponsored the baseball team. And to be honest, we need to get back to that in our neighborhoods. If that's what we're trying to do, if we're trying to create more of a community-based effort here between policing and the programs that we have to actually make it easier for people from that neighborhood to open businesses.
I love it. I love it. No, sounds great. And you mentioned, obviously, you're living there, and you talked about a little bit of the neighborhood in Kensington. Tell us, about the Kensington Caucus and what issues the caucus is going to be focusing on, and any specific bills yet around that.
Well, we've had a bunch of bills around that. Most of them have been the public safety aspect. We also did the curfew, which was kind of funny. The press tried to make a big deal out of the curfew, and they went down to the stores in the neighborhood, and they talked to the shop owners, and they were actually laughing at the reporters like, yo, listen, 11 o'clock at night is late to have your store open down here. They're like, most of us are out of here by 8, 9 o'clock. So they did not get the response that they thought they were going to get. The businesses in that neighborhood know that a lot of these 24-hour stores are part of the problem. problem. Listen, when you go into a store and they got 10 sodas and 5 bags of potato chips, there's no reason for them to be open 24 hours a day. And that's something that the mayor realized and something that she's got in her plan. And Ketty Lozada, the district council person that represents most of the community there. You also have Councilman Driscoll and Councilman Squilla, who are in the caucus. They all have a vested interest. And that's why we formed the caucus. We started with 4 members. We're now up to 6. We brought in the chair of public safety, which is Curtis Jones, who actually helped Ketty Lozada, me, Mike Driscoll, and Squilla form the Kensington Caucus. He helped us come up with the platform for it, the Kensington Marshall Plan. And now we're up to 6. Like I said, we added him, and we also added Nina Ahmad, who is our chair of public health. She's a doctor, and she brings a unique perspective to the caucus, especially when it comes to funding. She brought up an interesting fact that we could apply for federal money if we make it a health crisis down there also, which it definitely is. So that's the kind of stuff we're looking at. You see, the mayor is not playing around. She's already been cleaning. They're cleaning up down there almost 24 hours a day, moving from part to part, actually cleaning in the neighborhoods, cleaning up in the residences. The neighbors are coming out to help. It's just trying to bring back community. And I believe in our mayor's plan as a one Philly, a city united with equal opportunity for all. Cleaner, greener, and safer. That's something that everybody has a concern about. People just want to be able to take their kids to school safely, know that they're going to be safe when they're there, go to a job, work, come home from work, pick up their kids safely and get home. This stuff isn't rocket science. It's getting back to the basics and doing the basics well. There's going to be no more silos, as we said. All the departments are now communicating with everybody. They're upgrading all the systems so they're all linked. Even the nonprofits are getting in on this. The nonprofits are all linked up now because what was happening is people were applying for multiple services with multiple different agencies and kind of cutting our stuff thin. Now we know if they've already applied someplace else, and now we can track it. Instead of making duplicate stuff happen, we got one application and it goes for everything. So streamline.
That's great. And we've talked about that on some other coffee talks. And you touched on a lot of great things. I'm getting motivated. You're getting me psyched, Jim. I love all this stuff that you're saying. One of the things we didn't touch on.
Listen, anything we do to improve the quality of life over there is going to make the whole neighborhood rise. You know what I mean? And, there's a lot of people that own properties over there that have been waiting for something like this to happen because the bottom line is, it's very dangerous to own property over there the way it is now. I mean, I have seniors that are afraid to leave their homes, to go to a corner store that's 20 feet from their house. That's not right. And the mayor has seen it. She made a commitment to that neighborhood and she's following through on it. Listen, we put $100 million into just getting started in that neighborhood. Another $100 million is going to the new rehabilitation center that she's putting in that will be all services in one. Step Up, we're calling it. So they will go in for detox. And they will stay through housing and us helping them get jobs. As I told my colleagues, what they're going to find is once these people get a year of sobriety, they're going to be able to do some of these city jobs that we're short. We're short 1 in every 5 jobs in the city of Philadelphia, sanitation workers, streets department workers. We can fill these positions with these people because what they're going to find is once they become sober and they get a year under their belt, they're going to end up being some of the better employees because what happens is they just switch one addiction for the other. They become addicted to going to work. They become addicted to camaraderie. They become addicted to having money in their pocket, being able to do things. So they're going to become some of the better employees that they have. And the mayor's thinking about all that. She's making it, and we're calling it step up. So it'll be from detox to rehab, then into housing, transitional, where you will transition, will help find a job, keep you on your mental health. Because mental health, the two most important things after them actually getting sober is housing and mental health. If they don't continue both of them up, then they'll just end up in the same place they were. And that was the problem. We had no place for these people to go. So what happened is we got them into rehab. They stayed. If they were there involuntary, we were also held on the same as mental health. So we could only hold them involuntarily for 15 to 30 days max, without violating their rights. Now we got the waiver. The Val Arcouche, the state came in. They applied for a waiver. Now we can send these people long term, because what was happening is they were going away for 15, 30 days. And then we were saying, oh, here, you're recovered. Go out there and get it and send them back to Kensington, which doesn't work. People, places, and things are the worst thing for these people. So we need to have services bundled all in one with long-term treatment. That's the way we're going. That's the direction that we're going.
Great. I really appreciate that. And I love your passion behind all that. And you touched on it. What I wanted to hit on next was that home ownership, right? Increasing minority home ownership is within our strategic plan, our association, right? Something we're trying to be a part of. You know, interest rates, the inflation, the low inventory. There's a bunch of programs, but what do you see City Council doing to improve the affordability of home ownership? And maybe you want to touch on some of those programs.
Well, definitely me and Alex, my policy director, he's also an attorney. He's a real estate attorney. We're looking at all kinds of different things. So something that we're looking at right now, we're just in the beginning phases, is how would we incentivize property owners to sell to first-time home buyers who are not in their family. There's already a break if you're just selling it to a family member. But maybe we can get rid of the transfer tax in order to incentivize people to go through the process of the FHA and all that stuff, in order to get more home buyers into neighborhoods that actually look like the neighborhoods. The fact of the matter is the mayor is talking about 30,000 units of affordable housing. We can't do that all on our own. We're going to need private help. So we're going to need people who own the properties to be willing to buy into this also and help us to make these neighborhood whole. Like, for instance, in my neighborhood in Kensington, we have many blocks that have land that is vacant, that is either owned by a private or a Philadelphia or the city of Philadelphia itself, up through the land bank and other PHA. We need to start putting properties on those vacant lots and bringing more people into the neighborhood. The more people you have on a block, the safer the block becomes, because more people fight for that block. You have more people calling and reporting stuff to the police. So crime automatically drops if you fill in these vacant lots. And this is something that we learned years ago. We just haven't really fully implemented. And part of the problem was the fact that we had nobody that was going to commit to public safety, like Mayor Sherelle Parker is committed to public safety. Listen, she is walking the walk right now. She put 75 new officers in that neighborhood. In order, walking the beat, trying to become what we're calling neighborhood police officers, like we used to have back in the day. I remember we had two in Southwest Philly, and I'm sure Al Perry remembers this. Gus and Rich, they would come into the park and chase us out of the park, and we knew them. They talked to us, you know what I mean? But when we were doing something wrong, they let us know, or they chase us, or that, you know, we got taken in for different things that were going on. And you know, and we need to get back to that. The cops should be known in the neighborhood. People should know them. They should know the people in the neighborhood. They should know the difference between somebody who's a bad person and somebody who's having a bad day. People have bad days. You know what I mean? And we need the police to actually be in the community, walking around, talking to people again. And that's what she's leaning towards. And that's what our commissioner's leaning towards. You know, community policing, help from the community, getting a buy-in from them, giving, and with that comes holding the police accountable too. The bottom line is, I always say, we have a handful of officers that are no good, and we have thousands of officers that just want to go out, protect and serve, and get home safely to their families. We need to back those thousands of officers up, and we need to get rid of the bad officers. It's not rocket science. Again, you know, this is stuff that can happen. This is stuff that we're leaning towards. It's a new police department. We're recruiting now in big numbers because how short we were. The bottom line is we're short 1 in every 5 jobs, which makes services go down. You know what I mean? And the bottom line is our job as the city, we're a service industry. Our job is to make the citizens of Philadelphia, the business owners of Philadelphia's lives easier. And we need to get back to that. It's the simple things, you know.
Great. I appreciate it. Thank you. And, you know, we touched on the home ownership. If you want to, you know, anything else you could add there, but, you know, the budget, you know, the city just adopted the new budget as well. I wanted to touch on that. Can you tell us a little bit about that whole process? And then what do you see are some good opportunities coming out of this budget that was just passed?
Well, you know, the budget is a definite increase from Jim Kenny's budget. And you can see where the mayor's vision is coming in. You know, the bulk of the money was for clean and green and public safety. And, you know, public safety doesn't just mean policing. It's the policing aspect now. It's the community representatives we have out there now. It's upgrades to systems. The funny thing is, you know, we have this Civic Center where the cameras are out there. And, you know, there was a study from Washington that said that we need to get Philadelphia itself should be getting more like New York, where we have cameras everywhere. In New York, you can't go anywhere without being on camera, and that's not to violate anybody's rights. That's just so in case a crime does occur, they go back to the camera, look at the film, and will most likely solve for the crimes that are going on. But most importantly is literally the clean and green aspect of it, giving people pride back in their neighborhood. You know, it's amazing with little things will happen. When I first moved onto my block, you know, I told my wife, I went out and I started painting the front of the house. And I said, watch what happens. So I painted the front of my house, and one of the seniors came out and she asked me if I could touch the front of hers. So I touched up the front of hers. Next thing you know, everybody was out painting their house. You know what I mean? We got flowers all over. Now we're in a very rough neighborhood, but doesn't mean that the people live there are rough. You know what I mean? They want the same things everybody else wants. They want to be able to take their kids to school in safety. Like I said, they want to come out to a clean neighborhood with not needles laying all over the place and addicts sitting around shooting up in public. That's not acceptable. That's not acceptable for any neighborhood. It wouldn't be acceptable in any other neighborhood in the city. So why would we accept that in Kensington? The problem was COVID hit us hard over there. And I get what was going on. You know, they knew where they were, so they just left them there because, you know, everybody was locked down. They figure it's safer to know where they're at. But COVID's over, and it's time to get back to law and order. The city of Philadelphia can't function without law and order, and we cannot let a whole neighborhood go by the wayside because of a few 100 people, quite frankly. It's about 1,000 homeless addicts out there. And as I said, I got a unique perspective. You know, as an actual addict myself, I believe the way they were going about it is not the way you go about it. You know, addicts, we got to show them the love, but it's got to be tough love. They need to be regimented. They need to, for the first year, they need to learn everything. That's what people don't understand. Some of these people have been out there for 5, 6, 7, 10 years. They have to learn everything all over again, how to clean themselves, how to make a house, how to to, just clean a house, do dishes, stuff like that, that they haven't had to do for many, many years, that they now have to learn to do on their own if they're actually going to become functioning members of society again. And we have to give them the resources to be able to do that too. It's like I said, it's about bundling services, having everything there that's going to make it easier for them to succeed. Because if we make it easier for them to succeed, we're not going to have to spend as much money because we're not going to have to keep sending them. Right now, we're sending people away 3-4 times before they finally get it. Sometimes more than that. The average, I think, is about 6 times. You know what I mean? But that's partly because we could only send them for a short period of time. Now that we can do long-term recovery, I think you're going to see more people succeed.
Very good. Awesome. So definitely some great things coming out of that budget then, that cleaner, greener, and, safety are the three big advocates that you've been pushing. You're on that summer recess now. You said you're starting your vacation. What's been some of the highlights so far in your service? And then are you working on anything during summer break that you want to head into the fall session with that you want to let us know about?
Well, listen, my first year there, I won in a special election. I kind of got thrown into that first budget year, and I really didn't, know how to navigate the system. I'm now learning how that all works. It's kind of funny in council. They're very secretive. They have these unwritten rules, but they don't tell you about them unless you violate them. And then they come and say, "Hey, listen, that's not the way we do it. This is how you're supposed to do it." And it's kind of it's a learning curve. You know what I mean? Hopefully, somebody takes a little pity on you and says, "Hey, listen, if you do it like this, it'll be a lot easier on you." But, sometimes you got to learn on your own. And I'm one of them kind of people that learns by doing stuff. So I enjoy actually going to the committee meetings and learning about the different aspects of the budget and the different levels of funding. I thought it was great how educational the mayor's budget town halls were for the normal everyday person, learning what the different number, like, we do everything in 100s and 200s and 300s. And the normal everyday person, when they hear us talking about that, they don't know what the hell we're talking about. And the bottom line is she came out and she explained it to everybody that showed up in a way that everybody could understand. Basically, 100s are what we pay out in payroll, vehicles and stuff like that it takes to run the office. 500s are stuff that we give out for programming and stuff like that. And the numbers in between are for different other allocations. And she came out and she explained it to people in a way that nobody else has ever done. Nobody took that time before. And this isn't new for her. She's done this since she was a state rep. She used to do it in her district as a state rep. Then when she became a councilwoman, she would do it in her council district. But this now, she went to every section of the city. And let me tell you, it was packed. People wanted to know, 500 people was not a hard number for her to hit at these events. And she answered questions, and everybody that didn't get their question answered got an answer in writing. They actually took the questions and then got back to everybody.
Great. I love the explanations, right? She really took the time with those town halls to educate those people, to educate us, the citizens, as to how that works. So we have that more transparency in accomplishing those goals. And I appreciate you elaborating on that. Anything specific that you want to touch on for the fall? Anything, new coming up that we could expect, or, more consistency in that greener, safer, cleaner,
Yeah, well,
greener,
I think
safer.
you're
I
going to
love the
see
way
a
you're putting
lot
it.
of differences now that we actually gave her the money. The messed up thing is, she doesn't actually get the money till July 1st, the new fiscal year. So she was working with his budget. So all the stuff that she has planned, she couldn't even start until we actually gave her the money. You know what I mean? So now I'm ready to see what the meat and potatoes are. Now that she has what she needs to do, get stuff done, and she's not playing around. Like I said, she's investing. She, the Riverside, the old prison that was closed down. That was kind of like a work in and prison. Like, so they went out to work during the day and they would come back. It's out of the way. It's back by the river. The only thing actually around it are prisons. So, there's no chance of anybody getting out there and, terrorizing a neighborhood or something like that. And it's really thought out. I was laughing. I mean, I made a joke to her. I said, listen, I might have to relapse to just go hang out at this place because it's so pretty. I mean, she really is thinking about it. And that's the God's honest truth. Like, what we don't understand is the little things like that is with what these addicts have been lacking, that going to a nice place, walking in and seeing trees and grass and sitting areas, and then going into the place and seeing a clean room that's modern and nice. And it gives them that lift right off the bat that says, well, maybe I could do this, you know what I mean, this time. Instead of going to a place that's, dilapidated and run down and it doesn't have any hope in just the bricks. You know what I mean? There's something to be said about aesthetics and perception. And when somebody walks into a place trying to start their life over again and they're walking into this clean, bright place, that kind of gives them hope.
Absolutely. I agree with that. And, we talked about it earlier, and just how do we pull it all together for the business owners and those homeowners, right? Some of the cleaner, greener, safer, pulling it all together. You talked about that, like potential transfer tax, like some ideas. How do we get the businesses more engaged? How do we get them? How do we get them more inviting for them?
Yeah, you're exactly right. It's getting more engaged. It's showing up in the communities that you represent, quite frankly. I mean, when you own property in an area, that's an investment in that area. So you also should be involved in what's going on in that area. Going to the community events, going to see what's going to be put in, going to the CDCs when they're having a zoning meeting and hearing what other people are trying to put in to the area where you're investing in. You know what I mean? Because the God's honest truth is, you're investing in that area, you also should have a say in what's going on in that area and how that area should be moving forward together with everybody, not only the property owners, the normal everyday citizens that live there, but the people that are actually investing in that community, the people that are putting apartments in there so that we can get more people into that neighborhood, the people who are investing in storefronts in that neighborhood. All that stuff helps that neighborhood succeed. It helps that neighborhood grow. So everybody should have a say in that, and everybody should be involved. And the most easy way to do that is just to show up at these meetings and listen and see what the neighborhood is thinking. It'll actually probably help you guys too, knowing what the neighborhood wants in their community and what they're willing to go for saves you a lot of missteps and miscommunications. It's a lot easier when you go into a neighborhood and a neighborhood says, well, this is the kind of stuff we're looking for. And then you can work around with that. You know what I mean? If they're giving you, okay, this is what we're going to go for, well, okay, then that's what we're going to try to do. You know what I mean? We want more veteran housing here. There's vouchers for veterans housings. We want more veteran housing. We want more senior housing. You know what I mean? We need more affordable housing that people in the actual neighborhood can afford. Because even with our Turn the Key program that we have now with the city of Philadelphia, there's still a lot of people who are priced out of that. You know what I'm saying? So we need to look at these things and see what the actual people living there can afford. So how do we make them homeowners? How do we make them invested in that neighborhood? And that's probably most likely going to be through programming and partnering with these small private property owners in order to do more vouchers, to do more veteran housing through the voucher program with the feds, doing more PHA vouchers. You know what I mean? You might not make as much money, but it's guaranteed money. You know what I mean? And how do we make it fiscally feasible for the property owners to take a chance, because quite frankly, you are taking a chance. You know what I mean? Just like the city's taking a chance. So we need to work that out together. And how does that look like? And that's with having you guys in the room. But I think I think you're going to see that the mayor is different. She's got a lot of different, quite frankly, lived life experience. She didn't grow up privileged. She worked her way out, you know. It's a different atmosphere in City Hall altogether. There's actually hope in City Hall, which I don't know. I can't remember it being like this in a long time.
Yeah, no, that's great to hear. And, you touched on some things. Obviously, most of our members are residents as well throughout the
Exactly.
city, and having that seat at the table is something that, these conversations are geared towards that. We want to hold ourselves out as a resource to you, and any other council member, that when policy or when things are being talked about, or even in their early discussion, our opinion may be valuable at times, and we'd love to be able to offer that to help all of us together. And that, fiscally responsible is a great way of, talking about all the things that we have to do, but it's got to be fiscally responsible for that business owner too, because not just being a resident in that community, but those businesses and having the right tax opportunities, there, some, some fairness and some equity there where, they can survive, they can give back too. That allows them that opportunity to give back. So coming out of some of the things we've been dealing with, that hasn't always been possible. So very excited about the new year. And I love to kind of put a spin on that towards like what you're saying. You already talked about all these positive things. What do you see in the next 12 to 18 to 24 months? You see this new July 1st budget being there to spend. You see all these programs. What do you envision?
Well, I envision building. That's what we need to be doing. That's where I think she's going to. The bottom line is during the budget process, we have a say, but once we give her that money, we got to hope that she's going to do what she said she's going to do. And I believe she will. And I believe that if she does, you're going to see a lot of growing in the city of Philadelphia, because 30,000 units of affordable housing is going to be something. You know what I mean? It's going to be transformative, and it's a big endeavor with what's going to require a big commitment, and I'm excited about that. We need to be building these new properties, but we also need to rebuild our schools. It starts with that. I mean, again, as I like to say, it's not rocket science. If you read the studies, something as simple as building a new school in a neighborhood drops crime 10% right off the bat. Just because you're giving the kids a new sense of pride, you're giving a neighborhood a sense of pride. The kids walk in to this bright new place and they feel some kind of way. And that's the kind of way you get it started. And we have to start with these young people. They definitely are our future. And we need to build neighborhoods around building these new schools. The development that we're doing, it's going to require everything. If you're going to build housing, you got to build the other infrastructure that we're going to need in order to make the housing not just valuable, but useful. So people want to move around a good school for their kids. So we need to work on those schools. That's one way the city can help somebody's property owners in a neighborhood, is by redoing the school, because the studies already show the impacts that it will have. You know what I'm saying? That's why we're leading. The rec centers are all being redone. That's about building community. It's about giving kids hope. It's about also transforming how things were. Things change, and we got to change with them. So what we're finding out now, and I always give the example, I got a 300 and something pound grandson sitting here, 14 years old. I'd love him to play football, but he wants nothing to do with it. But if you give him a computer, he could do anything you want. You know what I'm saying? So we need to not only make these rec centers available for the kids that are playing sports, but also for the other kids that aren't necessarily playing sports. E-games is a big thing for the kids now. They're actually getting Division I scholarships for playing video games. It's unbelievable, but it's an untapped thing that we can put in a rec center fairly easily. We're just renewing our Verizon agreement, the city is, and part of our agreement was the Wi-Fi for the kids in the rec centers. So now we're going to be able to interlock some of these rec centers and put other things, computer labs, recording studios, let the kids learn how to get it out in words. And the e-games, these are things that all kids can be into, whether they're actively sports wise or not, because the bottom line is not every kid's into sports anymore. And we need to help every kid.
I hear you. I love the passion. Like I said, there's going to be great opportunity to come with the new budget. It's going to be interesting to see where it all lands. But please, know that we're a resource to you as well. So, if ever GPAR can help you, don't be reluctant to reach out. We want to be, part of the solution here.
Yeah, and I appreciate you guys. And if I do have a question, I'm sure I can reach out. I talk to Al a lot. I talk to Harvey Spear. Me and Al go back to grade school, but Harvey's known me my whole adult life. My first job in politics was with Jonathan Seidel, and Harvey and Jonathan were like the two amigos. You know what I mean? They had another guy in their group, the three amigos, which was Albert Taus, who was an architect. That's where I started out, and so I'm comfortable. If I have a question, just picking up the phone and either calling Al or calling Harvey or calling you, Chris. I don't mind asking questions.
No, I appreciate that, and maybe on some of the future conversations we could talk about, the business side of it as well, right? Some of the, tax implications and how they're going to be adjusted, and really incentivizing that affordable housing, how we're going to get those 30,000 units, things like that. But I really do want to thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you too. And like I said, you can always reach out to me, or you can reach out to Alex on my staff. My cell phone is 267-443-8621. Again, that's 267-443-8621. My Gmail, which is my personal email, is jharrity, HARRITY 72@gmail.com.
Well, and thank you very much for that.
Alex, if you're still on, please add your city contacts into the chat.
Great. With that, I'm going to give Alex a second to put that in there, and then I'm going to pass it back off to Matt.
All right. Great conversation today, Councilman Chris. That was really informative stuff. And Councilman Harrity, that was, we've done a lot of these over the last 5 or 4 years. And your enthusiasm, we feel it, the energy, we feel it. And just you being you was made for a really great coffee talk today. So we really appreciate that. But a big takeaway for us, selfishly, is that connectivity. So we really appreciate the fact that you're really willing to have the conversations with us, to connect us with Alex. And Brittany will be interacting with you guys, no doubt. So we're very glad for this coffee talk, and I have a feeling we'll have you back here. So get your vacation started, enjoy the sun and the sand. We're working on your shack, and have a great 2 weeks down there.
And I'll tell you, maybe we need to put a little luncheon together or something. I'll bring some of my colleagues in, because I'm sure, we have a lot of enthusiasm right now for housing. A lot of different members are working on different aspects of it. And it would be good to get them all in a room so we can get some feedback. You know, for us,
You know
feedback's
what we need to do?
important.
We need to do maybe a housing caucus.
Exactly. That would be great. And,
There you go.
you know, there actually is a housing caucus. I believe Jamie Gaudier is in charge of it, and she's been leading the way on the affordable housing efforts. So we could talk to her, but we can also talk to other members. You know what I mean? Who have concerns and questions, quite frankly, because to be honest with you, one thing I learned is that somebody in a field is going to know more about that field than I am. You understand what I'm saying? And if I'm going to ask somebody, one thing I learned from Senator Sanfrani earlier is I'm going to go to the people that are supposed to be the experts, the people that are doing it on a daily basis and making it work. Because, you know, quite frankly, this isn't an easy business. It requires a lot of commitment. It requires a lot of time. You know, quite frankly, and you guys deal with a lot of crap. You know what I mean? It's not like every tenant is the model tenant. You know, it takes time to find that tenant that works. It takes time to, you know, go through what you have to go through in order to make it successful. You know, I see transient people every day in my neighborhood. They move in at night in the winter time, and by the summertime, they're moving out at night. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I get it. So thank you.
All right. Thank you to all our members for tuning in today. Everyone have a great day, and we'll see you on the next Coffee Talk. Take care. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.